Getting down to the end of it now, doing the final wet sanding of the bottom before it's time to move on and apply the bottom paint. So once again, I'm going to go with the Seahawk BioCop, which is not an inexpensive paint. It's a little under $300 a gallon, but it does work pretty well, which is more than can be said for a lot of the paints I've tried. Well, what do you know? It's time to put the mast back up. Yikes. Which is always nerve-wracking to me, especially with all that fresh paint and varnish on there. It's early August and the boatyard is a little short-handed just now, so I'm down below guiding the mast into the step. And so Ruth Avery is transforming back into a sailboat again. Well, I need the mast up to use the halyard as a crane to lift the bowsprit up, since the bowsprit is too heavy to carry up on a ladder. But first I have to replace the leathers on the gaff, and you might be wondering how the gaff figures into this operation. Well, that's because I'm going to use the gaff as a cargo boom to help lift the bowsprit up on deck and drop it down on the bow where it belongs. Since the jib halyard is going to do all the lifting, and the jib halyard is attached to the top of the mast, naturally when I pick it up, the bowsprit's just going to want to swing to directly under the mast. So I need some sort of a boom to keep it outboard and over the bow so I can drop it down where it belongs. So the other end of that line, which is at the bottom of the screen, is attached to a bridle on the bowsprit. So then I'll pass that hoisting line through the block and tie a bowline and attach that to the jib halyard. And then it's just heave away. Though I have to pause first to attach the jib stay at the end of the bowsprit. And a little further uncertainty is the fact that I just replaced the jib stay with 5mm Chinese ducks. So it's still a question as to whether or not I got the length right. We'll find that out momentarily. Seems pretty good. Now we just got to bolt the whole thing in place. So close, yet so far. All these little tasks that remain before the boat is actually ready to go sailing again. One is to replace the sunbrella boot at the partners. And the partners is where the mast passes down through the cabin top. And so you have to put something there to prevent it from leaking. So the traditional solution is a canvas or today's sunbrella boot for it. So I'm just finishing up sewing the two ends together. I find it'll be reasonably watertight. You'll get some leaks in really rough weather, of course. So I installed these Dyneema lifelines. It's actually just last year. As you can see, especially up by the bow, I got, even after 1 year, got a significant amount of chafe. So I'm going to replace them again with Dyneema, the same Dyneema. But what I'm going to do, and hopefully I'll have enough room in there, is add a Dyneema anti-chafe sleeve where they pass through the stanchions. So hopefully I'll have enough room to get the sleeve through. Jeez, hope I didn't wear the sleeve out just doing that. Alright, we'll try this solution here. I haven't forgotten when I nearly lost my anchor off Newfound Harbor. So this is the chain locker here. So all I do is I just ran it through a block of cherry, which will prevent it from going up, possibly going up through the hawse hole. Just put a stopper knot. Now whether this thing will actually tangle when I try to pay it out, I don't know. So you just have to try it and see how it works. So I sewed this big heavy leather onto the tack of the staysail here. You see the sail was starting to, the clue patches were starting to delaminate, and just because there was so much chafe around here. So hopefully this will help preserve the sail. Hope to get a couple more years out of this sail. Well, I still have to put the new painter on the dinghy. So I'll splice it onto the ring and then whip the other end so it doesn't come unraveled. I also painted the sculling oar this year, so now I have to put the leather back on. But you just keep moving from project to project. In time, persistence does pay off. And the day comes when you look up and you realize it's time to go sailing. Well, the boat is not in the yard, so I'm assuming she's out riding on the mooring here. Yeah, that's right, they don't want you to drive past this point here. So we'll park here and walk down. I don't have my seatbelt on, it's beeping at me. Well, at least I'm going downhill. I gotta lug that inflatable down here. It's a lot easier going downhill with it than uphill. Oh, it always feels nice to be afloat again.